My name is Tom Walker, and I'll be your instructor for Art 112D, Introduction to Digital Art. So I'm not sure how many of you have taken online courses before, so this will be an interesting experience for you. You can expect a lot of these types of videos. A lot of the content we'll be going through will be lessons that we have that I'll be giving step-by-step instructions and tutorials on how to go about doing some of these things. The way that this class is going to function is going to be primarily through Laulima here. I have to assume that most of you are more or less new to Laulima. I'm sure some of you have used it before for your other classes. It kind of just depends on the instructor. I know some instructors use Laulima more than others. For our purposes, everything is going to be coming through Laulima, so you can think of this as essentially our classroom. Before I go into Laulima, I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about myself, just so you have some idea of who your instructor is. Unfortunately, without our face-to-face class time, we don't really get the opportunities to get to know each other a little bit, but just for some background information on myself, so I did my master's in drawing and painting at UH Manoa, and prior to that I did my BFA, my undergraduate degree, also in drawing and painting. So I have much more traditional media experience, although I've done a lot of graphic design work and a lot of corporate and client-based work with Photoshop. And in fact, my own painting practice is pretty much combined with digital technology. So often what I'll do is I'll work within Photoshop building compositions and sketches, and then I'll put that onto canvas, and then I'll work for some time, and then I'll take photographs of the work on canvas and put that back into Photoshop, and I kind of go through this editing cycle where I work digitally, then I work analog, then I work digitally, then I work analog, and it's a really good way for myself and for the way that I work to see real-time changes on the fly and make edits to things that a lot of my paintings are really, really large. So if I want to make small changes, sometimes it's difficult to see what that would be like until after I've done it. So digital technologies allow me to make those changes and get a sense of the aesthetic and the composition that might be best for that particular work. But like I said, I've done a lot of work within design, and I think what I can bring to this class is a nice hybridization of the two. So I'm assuming many of you also have experience with traditional mediums, drawing. I'm quite certain most of you have had experience drawing, but we're looking for ways to find out how we can expand that into the digital world, right? Into the digital technologies. I mean, computers, right? Film, animation. I'm sure these are some of the areas that many of you are interested in going into. So I'll post a link or two here also in this introduction. My website there, tom-walker.com. That'll give you an idea of some of the work that I do. And then there's some links to some videos and some processes that I've been involved in yeah, Laulima. So let's go ahead and sign into Laulima if you're not already. In Laulima, if you go to your sites, right, this will bring up each of your semesters and the courses that you're enrolled in. So for me as a teacher, it's a little bit different, but let's go ahead and click on Spring 2019, Art 112. And I'm going to change this, so change this to student. So this is exactly what you would see, right? So again, Laulima is going to serve as our central classroom hub, and I'm sure this is repeat for many of you because you've used Laulima before, but if you haven't, I'll just quickly go through this step by step just so you can get a sense of how this class is going to operate. The left-hand side here will be all of our tabs for the course, and we have some basic layout here in the front. So the overview page here, this is what we're seeing. There's a brief little introduction to the course, and I haven't finished the video yet, but once I do, I'll link this video into this introduction here for you. But it's just some general information about how the classroom will be structured. We have announcements here, we have calendar, and we have our news and forums. But all of these tabs are right here as well too. So announcements, I'll be occasionally giving you things discussion to think about if there's any announcements or changes that are going to happen. These will always be emailed to you as well. The calendar and forum, we'll get to that as we scroll down some of these tabs here. But let's just go down these one at a time. So if you click on syllabus here, I've used an external Google Sites to put this to because sometimes formatting gets a little strange in Laulima, but go ahead and click on the link here and this will open a new window for you. And I'm not going to go through this. I'll leave this for you to go through with more careful examination. And if you have questions, you can email me. But take some time, go ahead through this. This will give you more detailed information about the course, how things are going to be structured, right? Student learning outcomes, necessary supplies. Now, not much that you're going to need in this course besides a computer and Photoshop, but it might be a good idea to have a drawing pad that you work with. You definitely need to make sure you have a digital camera. Most of you have iPhones, I'm sure. Laulima and Google Docs access, as well as access to a computer with Adobe Photoshop. Might also be a good idea to have a USB drive if you're transporting to and from, and headphones so you can watch some of these videos if you're ever in a lab setting. So again, go through this. There's some information about how the class is structured. Again, what I'm going through with you on Laulima right now is basically what the syllabus is saying. The class is going to be, weekly lessons, right, that we're going to have, where we'll have exercises that we'll do every week, and then we'll have some larger projects, 5 or 6 of them, depending on how the class goes and where our interests lie. And we can get a breakdown of what these projects are going to be worth, right? So we have assignments, quizzes, projects, and then a final project. Late projects and etiquette, in a real professional working environment, we have deadlines. Deadlines are always necessary. They're always a time constraint. And I plan to run the class much like I would a professional studio workshop. So deadlines are deadlines. They're due the day that they're due. I'm seeing as how this is an online class. We're not going to have the opportunities for missed classes or attendance issues. So everybody has the same time, right? And if you ever anticipate that you will miss a deadline due to some foreseen circumstances, if you can maintain a professional, proactive, and preemptive approach to it, then I'm more than happy to work with you on deadlines. But simply just missing a deadline because we miss a deadline is just not going to cut it, especially for an online forum class like this. So there's a lot in here about communication with me. I mean, please do your best to communicate with me whenever you have problems. I don't know that you need help unless you ask me. I can pretty much guarantee Monday through Friday I can give you same-day responses, but when it comes to the weekends, I will do my best. Like most of you, I enjoy my weekends as well, but I can pretty much get back to you same day on the weekends as well too. I just can't guarantee it. So if you're emailing me Sunday evening about a project that's due Sunday at midnight, chances are I'm not going to get back to you in time for you to work out whatever you're questioning. But I will do my best. That's the syllabus. Again, please email me if you have questions about that. But let's go back to Laulima here. So overview, syllabus, and then announcements. I briefly had said something about that in the beginning, but here we have some announcements, right? So I do have one assignment for you right now, and it's basically an introduction survey that I'd like you all to complete. And here the announcements basically just say, hey, this is here. This is something that you need to do. Resources here. This is where I'll be posting information or articles or PDFs or things to read or videos or basically anything relating to the lessons of that week, right? So this will always be kind of a stop for you to come back to if you're, you can access all these resources through the lessons tab, which I'll get to next, but here's just kind of a quick way to get to them without having to go through and maybe scroll through information to find them. But lessons here, now this is the central aspect to how we're going to be getting through course content here. So when you click on lessons, the online class, we're broken up into weeks, right? So we have 16 weeks, I believe. And some online classes put all of the information out there right away. And I'm going to be basing it, a couple of weeks ahead, right? Right now, I'm, getting through week 1. And, depending on how we're responding to some of the information, I might change up the exercises, I might move things around, but you can expect at the end of every week, every Monday, the next week or even the next 2 weeks will be laid out ahead of you. So we'll always be, working relatively in a tight fashion. But here, so we have 3 things for week 1, and again, as we progress, you'll start to see week 2, week 3, and so each of these is a separate thing right here. So if you click on week 1, introductory survey, right, gives you some brief instruction here on what I'd like you to do, and then there's a link right at the end here. So please take time to fill out the survey here. You can click on it there, but also, once we get to it, assignments, anything that you need to know in lessons will always be linked in assignments as well. So if you're ever confused about what's due or what's coming up, you can always just click on assignments here. But if we're coming from this lessons week 1 page, right here, you can just click on the survey. This will take you to another window. Now, you have to have a Google account here, and you have to have a UH email because this survey will only allow University of Hawaii affiliated email accounts. So seeing as how I'm already signed in, it just took me right to the survey. So make sure you have that Hawaii email linked, and please go through, and it's not very long, but there's just some questions in here that I think will be helpful for me in getting to know you a little bit, getting to know where people are, getting to know what people's interests are, where people's experiences have been. So please get to that survey. You have until January 13th, that's Sunday. So plenty of time. And at the moment, there's 2 other things for week 1, but as the weekend is coming up, I'll be putting more of this information on here. Getting started, that's more or less what I'm doing right now for you, is I'm going to have this video linked in there, but I'll go through some of the other aspects of the course, and I might add some Photoshop things to there too. Also, getting Photoshop. I don't know how many of you already have Photoshop. I'm assuming most of you do, if not all of you already do, but I will give some short instruction on how to go about getting Photoshop if you don't already have it. So we're not going to be doing any Photoshop work this week, although I will be giving some instruction in tutorials, but I won't have any Photoshop projects for you in the first week. Okay, and then clicking on calendar here, we can see that basically this is more here for your benefit. I mean, everything that we do in the classroom is going to be contingent on deadlines and any announcements or upcoming due dates that are coming up. This will all come into calendar here, and we can see Sunday the 13th, we already have a highlight here that is when that introductory survey is due. Okay, and then under calendar we have assignments, and if we click on assignments here, we can see a list of all the assignments that are due, and the only thing that we have in assignments right now is this introductory survey. So any of the assignments that get posted into lessons will automatically be posted here into assignments as well. So if you're ever confused or just need to know a quick heads up on what's due or what's coming up, you can always just click on assignments, and this will tell you what's due, when it opens, which for this, I opened the survey on January 1st, but basically the day that I put them out will be the day that they're open. And the due date will always be here. So we can see January 13th, 11:55 p.m. So a lot of these things are all connected. So if we go back to calendar, again, you can see, so Sunday, January 13th, we hover over that, and we can see that introductory survey is due then. And then, from the lessons, we also have it there. So in 3 areas here, we can always get access to what's coming up and what's due when. So again, as we're just starting out now, this is the only thing here, but over the weekend and as we get closer, there'll be more things coming up here. So Gradebook Classic, since there isn't anything that we've been graded on, but this is going to be where you can always see where your grades are, see where you're standing in the class, and this is where I'll be giving you feedback as well. And again, this is a place that you can always see how you're doing in the class. Email, again, like I said, I can almost always get back to you on same-day responses throughout the week, but this is also a place where you can email your fellow students with questions or comments as well. And speaking of communication with your fellow students, we have the Forums tab here, which we'll be doing our weekly exercises. And for those, we're not going to have any group discussion on those. You'll just be submitting those to me. But of the 5 or 6 larger projects we'll be doing, one of the components to those projects are going to be the online critique discussion that we're going to have about these pieces. So some of you who may have taken studio classes before are more familiar with the critique format, but here is going to be where we're going to be posting our projects, and then you'll have the opportunity to comment and give feedback to your classmates. So the project due dates will always be on a Friday, and you'll have the following Saturday and Sunday to complete your portion of the feedback. And this is a required aspect of the project, is that everybody is to provide some constructive feedback on everybody else's projects. In any critique, online or in person, right, we want to think about the goal of the assignment, right? How well did the student match the goal, right? Was it clear in their concept and idea? How well the piece is crafted, which, for an online critique is going to be a little bit difficult, but I think we can get a sense of the craftsmanship that comes through as we gain more experience with Photoshop. We can think about what things are working well, what areas could have used a bit more time, right? Again, we'll talk more about the critique as we get closer, but this forum tab is going to be where we do that. And then lastly, we have a help tab here. This is more for internal things with Laulima. Now, I am not an IT person. I'm not a technician. So I can't necessarily help you or troubleshoot with errors like this. I mean, I can try to help you with Photoshop, but if you're having technical errors or hardware issues or things that are outside of Photoshop, this would be the place to come to. Now, again, I can do my best to help, but again, I'm not going to be available to help you with things that are outside of Photoshop technical issues. If you get the time, please go through these tabs on your own. Please go back through the syllabus. If you have any questions, you can email me. But as we get started, again, I'll be posting another video into our lessons week 1. I'll be posting another video about how to go about getting Photoshop. I'll be providing you with some resources as we get started. And then at the end of the week and beginning of the second week is when we'll start getting into Photoshop. Okay, we'll see you next time.